Call this meeting to order. We have a quorum. We're all here with heavy hearts because of Brother Chase, so let's have a moment of silence for respect to him. So I call this meeting to order. Would you call the roll, please?
Raymond Mondragon.
Here.
Alan Kinland.
He's on his way.
Brett Johnson.
Here.
Gail Tarson.
Here.
George Jones.
Here.
Joseph Blaschke.
I'm here.
Matthew Glenn sent his apologies. John Gutierrez. Kevin Cass.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Everybody's had a chance to look over the minutes. I will take a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Having a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Minutes have been approved. Okay, Justin, do you want to discuss the comprehensive economic development strategy, please?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Based off the feedback that we received at the last EIB board meeting, the City of Clovis put together an RFP to develop a comprehensive economic development strategy. We released the RFP on July the 18th, and then the proposals were due on August the 12th. We actually received 6 proposals back, which is an outstanding feedback that we've in a submittal process that we've received. They ranged all over the country, to be honest with you. So it was fascinating to see how many people responded in the reach that we got with the advertising that we did for it. We developed an RFP review committee, and the members of that committee were made up of Mr. Mondragon as well as Mr. Johnson. Then we also had Jason Espinoza, and he is with New Mexico IDEA. He's
New Mexico IDEA and KW Consulting.
There we go. Thank you. Also is Dr. Nwanko, representing CCC, and then Susie Russell, who is on works with the Economic Development Department for the state of New Mexico. So we have a great team of reviewers for those proposals. Since receiving the proposals, we have met twice. And honestly, in all the years that I've sat through RFP review committees and getting responses back from those members, it's one of the best reviews that we've had. Very thorough by each one of those members, so thank you to each one of them for putting their time and efforts to read all 6 of those proposals and have good, honest, open discussions and feedback regarding the proposers themselves. Where we are right now in the process is that they have scored each one of the proposals and provided those to our purchasing agent, Brian Jones. And so the next steps will be for the committee, if they so choose, to narrow the list down from that 6. If they would like to interview some of the proposers, we'll certainly start down that process. So it's a good process. I'm happy with the way things are moving forward. I'm happy with the submittals that were received. They were all very well qualified, and I think they would all do a fantastic job for the city of Clovis. I know it's going to be a tough decision for the committee to make a recommendation and moving forward, but I know they'll do a great job. So Mr. Mondragon was elected chair of the RFP review committee, and so certainly I would open it up for him to provide any feedback that he may have regarding the process so far as well.
I just, Justin and Claire and with Brian, working with Brian Jones, and I just concur with your comments of what you said. We did have 6 outstanding. I believe it was 6 outstanding. And it was a lot of reading, a lot of note-taking, and back and forth to make sure that the scope of work was addressed within the RFPs. And so I'm excited about it. Actually, we had some good ones.
Absolutely, and one interesting point about it was Ms. Russell wasn't able to make the first RFP review committee, and so the feedback we received from the first one, and then we had the meeting with her and heard her thoughts and opinions about the different proposers, and without her speaking to the other members, very similar feedback. And so it was fascinating to see that they all picked up on the exact same thing within the proposal. So that was great. So we'll continue to keep this board updated as we go throughout the process. And once a firm is selected, we'll be bringing that back to this committee for a recommendation and then a further recommendation on to the city commission. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that the board may have.
And just to comment on Susie Russell, she is the regional representative for the New Mexico State Economic Development Department, and she's based out of Roswell, and Clovis is part of her region.
Any questions for Mr. Howald? Mr. Howald, do you want to give us the Economic Development Fund financial report?
Absolutely. We're only 2 months into the fiscal year, and so far on our revenues collected to date, we've received $170,938.44 into the fund. We had a total budget in projected revenues of a little bit over $1 million for the fiscal year. So the 170,000 represents about 15.92% of the total revenues that we're expected to receive in fiscal year 2022. Expenditures on the year are $5,121.86, and that's our gross receipts tax collection fee. So as we collect gross receipts tax, Tax and Rev Department obviously has an administration fee, so those have been our expenses so far year to date for the fund itself. The cash in bank is a little bit over $3.2 million. And that's made up of about $2.2 million that's actually in the bank, and then a little bit over $1 million that we have invested. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you have regarding the financials.
No questions. We're moving through this agenda pretty fast. I understand, I bet Mr. Malloy here is to speak to us on progress of anything economically related.
Certainly, Mr. Chairman. I don't pretend to be up to speed yet, but I'm rapidly working that way. Just on a brief about CIDC, the executive committee will be meeting this afternoon to talk about short-term and long-term strategies. So we'll be making plans on what things will look like going forward. But I'll just hit a couple of the high points. I don't know how many people spend any time on South Norris Street, but Cummins has finished a beautiful new parking lot out there, substantial investment, making that facility more valuable to them, I would assume. I don't know what the budget was on that, but it was plenty of money. They completely tore out the entire front of that building and put it all back in 6-inch concrete and rebar, so it looks beautiful. And just up the street, the Frito-Lay facility is almost complete. Looks like they're putting the finishing touches on that. CIDC made that property available to them. That was property that we've owned for some time, and a nice addition to that end of town out there. We're following a truck stop prospect that I'm sure many of you are aware of. We had a call this week with a solar generation company that we've been working with. We've had numerous calls with them, and that continues to make progress, but we did learn one disturbing thing, and it was news to me, and we're going to understand maybe if there's no opportunities to shortcut that. But the Southwest Power Pool has a 4-year backlog on reviews of these projects, and that essentially kills, anything we might be able to put together anytime soon. So I don't know what opportunities exist to expedite that or what leverage we might have to get that reduced. But and one last thing I want to talk about is a project that was probably right at the tail end of Chase's leadership, and it was something that he had really pushed to get going, and Ernie's been working very close with it this week, and I'll call on Ernie to give you guys an update on it. It's exciting.
So hopefully you all know that the Chamber and CIDC and the city have partnered on a couple of major initiatives. One of them, of course, is our branding initiative, which we're going to continue to do. But the big news that we're going to announce today at the Chamber Board meeting is that the Clovis Remote Program. So that is a program where we've been working. We had hired Andrea Corpening from Elite Business Performance, working remotely for us, and also Rachel Forrester that works remotely for us on this project, Clovis Remote. And so We had rolled out with the Clovis Remote program to the military spouses in May. So right when, you know, our time frame to launch the Clovis Remote program to the community was one of the days that Chase was in the hospital. And so it's his deadline. We needed to be ready by then, so we went ahead and rolled out with it. And that weekend, so what we were saying is, anybody that wants to work remotely, living in Clovis, we would try to get them trained up to be a remote worker. And what happened was, over the weekend and the first several days, we had up to 40 local people that were interested in this program. So these are people that, you know, stay-at-home moms or people that, you know, choose to work remotely. And so the whole thing started with a partnership that we have with Plateau and trying to push the true gig internet, you know, to say that you can live in Clovis and work remotely. And anyway, so we worked with the spouses and we had several success stories, but I think it was August 13th, we went ahead and rolled out with the press release that we were ready to go to the broader community of Clovis and Curry County. So like I said, I think there was 38 that signed up, and so now we're overwhelmed because what the deal is we'll train all of these people, and they'll have to go through our training program. And so our goal was to get people trained up, get this program going. We wanted to be set the pace in the state of New Mexico. We did try last legislative session to get capital outlay because Silver City has the program, and we kind of tried to model after theirs. Well, there was just enough money for Silver City. So we had actually invested in this program with no income coming in. So anyway, we were able to find this company that we have, a global company, call center, that is involved with health insurance, and they are partnering with us. The name of the company is T-Tech, and they're partnering with us to get people trained up. And so that's a huge deal. It's definitely one of the things that Chase and I really was hoping that we could get an anchor company to get on board with us, and then once we can prove ourselves with the company, then we could get other people to work, you know, remotely. So anyway, we found that out. We're going to announce it today at the board meeting that the Clovis Remote program is, you know, we have our big first company. It's a huge deal. And so from that, we connected with a colleague that Chase and I had at the New Mexico Workforce Solutions and let them know. We had been meeting with them, letting them know about Clovis Remote. We had a meeting about a month ago and got all of our partners on this call to say, this is what we're doing, and we really want you to be involved with it and be helping us promote it and get people. You know, we were looking for employers. And so we called back Beth and let her know the big news about the company that we got. And then, so the second piece of good news that we found out from her is that the New Mexico Workforce Solutions, once we're working on it diligently in the next few days to get our proposal in, that they will pay CIDC to train these people. They have money that they can do that. And so we'll be able to you know, further invest into the program. But the biggest deal is that CIDC had a big budget line item for expense for Clovis Remote with zero for income. So this is huge. I know that Chase will be really, really happy about it. And then the third part was that they also said not only could they partner with us to reimburse us to train employers to work remotely, they also said if there was anybody out there that was in our program that didn't have the means to have a laptop to work remotely and didn't have the money to have the gigabit service from Plateau, that the Workforce Solution can also cover that. So all of this happened yesterday. I'm really excited to share it, and I just know that, you know, it's just been a matter of days, and I know that this was, you know, our vision together with Chamber City and CIDs for sure. So we we would have been dancing in the streets yesterday. So that's what I'm excited to report. And then only thing that Lee didn't mention as it relates to economic development, we continue to work with prospective cannabis businesses, and Chase was already working with some from Colorado and stuff, and so they have all reached out to us as well. So it's been crazy.
Thanks, Ernie. How many people is T-Tech looking for?
Well, I had to go back to my email and look at that again because I was just so excited about it. But let me look here. I can tell you. It's mandated that they're trained to our program before they even consider them. But basically what they're saying in here is that, sorry. I don't know if I can't get service or what, I don't know. But anyway, it's customer service representatives and stuff. And so they're just saying that, you know, through our program, feed them potential remote workers. And there actually is a list of different positions and how many. And once I find that, I will forward that to you.
Thank you, Ernie. Any questions? That is fabulous. Those are, bring us into the high-tech world.
Yes, and it also adds value to Plateau.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Morris, would you have anything you'd like to address this committee with?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for calling him up, because I was going to put him on the spot and see if he wanted to report on the Lita retail.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, board members. Always appreciate being put on the spot.
I know you do.
And I apologize for being a few minutes late, and you were well into the agenda. And so I'm not sure if maybe I would be backing up and covering something already discussed. But thank you, Mr. Howalt. You must not have discussed that yet. I believe it was at your last meeting that you approved and approved recommendation to the City Commission to do an election resolution so that we can amend our local ordinance to now incentivize retail using the economic development funds. And that will be on the county ballot in November. And you're going to see very soon a campaign, an information campaign pushed out to make sure we educate the voters on that. And we would appreciate your help with that in your circles of influence. I'm told that I can't ask people to vote for it, but I think everybody knows I would really appreciate it if you would. So I think that our community needs it. Again, going back to that opportunity gap analysis that Retail Strategies did for us, $462 million hemorrhaging from our customized trade area annually within the retail sector. And I think that that's the motivation to create an incentive package for retail, both for expansion of existing. If you're going to be creating a new job or two or three in a downtown business, that should qualify, But we also need to be able to go after those bigger national chain retailers. So with that,
Fantastic job.
were we also going to talk about the economic development RFP today?
We previously did discuss that, yes, sir.
We already did that. Well,
But you may like to
And
talk about the transmission line leader
The
money.
Lita money for the airport?
thank you.
You can.
Thank you. They're just going to keep teeing it up for me. A couple of things. Well, on the economic development RFP, I regret running a few minutes late and not being here for that. I just wanted to say that, maybe next to local LITA for retail, or I can't prioritize them. I'm excited about them both. I think it is so important that we get that economic development assessment done, get a plan in place. Because if you look around our community, you folks on the EIB board, our chamber, CIDC folks, city commission, city management, city administration, Clovis Main Street, on and on and on. Everyone that's working on economic development is a part of this all-star team that we have in our community. And we really need a shared vision and a clear direction and a clear place to apply effort. And I think the sky's the limit for Clovis in the next 5, 10, 15 years, and I think it's important that we get that assessment done. What are those assets that our community offers industry? and then, you know, what types of economic-based employers are out there that would benefit from those assets that we have, and let's go court them, and let's get them here. So very excited about that, and glad to hear that you already had the presentation on that. Mr. Howalt referenced the transmission line. Great job. I'll take the opportunity in front of all of you to say great job to Mr. Howalt, Ms. Burrows, and the team at the city. They were successful in a state lita application, made the case that our regional airport is in fact economic development, which I think we could all agree that it is. And with state lita money, we're going to be able to extend the city's water system and install a transmission line out to the municipal or to the regional airport. And that's great news. A little over 2 million, right? 2.2 million.
Yep.
From the state LEDA fund. So our team here at Clovis is going to the state and bringing money to our community to do good things. And so anything else I should report on, or do you have any questions for me? All right.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Thanks for all you do, Mr. Chairman, board members. Appreciate y'all. Have a good day.
Thank you, Mayor, for your service. I have a question for Justin or Clara. Is these cannabis businesses that are coming in, they will participate the same rate on the gross receipts tax to this fund? No.
No, they will pay, and it's a fantastic question, Mr. Chairman, and I wish I had the exact numbers off the top of my head. I want to say they start out at, they're going to pay on top of gross receipts tax. I think they pay an excise tax, starting out at 12%. And then increasing for the next couple of years till 2025, I want to say to max out at 18%. And out of that excise tax, the city of Clovis will receive a certain percentage. A majority of it goes to the state, just simply because from the regulatory standpoint, they have the most. From a process standpoint, they have the most rules and things that they have to put in place and to administer, and so they'll receive a majority of that excise tax. But the city of Clovis will certainly see a portion of it
But they'll be charged the regular gross receipts tax
as well.
Correct. And so we do get our percentage from that.
Yeah, we'll get our percentage from the gross receipts plus a percentage of that excise tax. And we do not have any projections on what that potentially can be. The feedback that we received in discussions that we've had with the New Mexico Municipal League is that the central quarter of the state, they're probably not going to see that much expansion and growth in that industry, but it's your border states that are going to see the most expansion in that industry. And so the way they said it was, it's going to be the Wild West on the border communities of our state, and so they have no idea what kind of economic impact it could have for our areas.
So if a cannabis producer comes in and wants to talk about the things that we can offer, who do we send them to now? I guess you're going to have the meeting today and work on a...
From a retail standpoint, we don't have anything we can offer them at this point. And so whether or not they would qualify underneath our existing ordinance is something that we would have to research.
But Ernie just said that Chase was working with some cannabis companies.
And that may be finding sites and locations, not necessarily putting together incentive packages.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. Is there anything else for the good of the order?
No, the only thing, Mr. Chairman, is I had a visit by the owners of HTO, that new business going up on North Prince, and they brought over some tea for us to taste, and they're going to have a lot of different types of teas and pastries. Yeah, they won't have a dine-in area. It'll be a drive-through or come in and get and leave. But anyway, they're really excited about. They also wanted a potential second location in another city, so we made some referrals for them to some economic developers as well. But basically, that's it. Working on a couple other deals, but I was in Clayton, New Mexico yesterday. We met with the city and the county commission. I think I had reported before that EBCOG was working on an interstate designation through the legislature. We got all that done. It went into the bill. It went into the Congress. 400 amendments to that bill. And the day before it was to be voted on, it had support in Congress. And on a bipartisan vote, it was 69-30, I believe, was the vote. But it was removed after a debate with Senator Hartley from Tennessee, and it was removed. And so we're back to square one for Northeast New Mexico. They were really disappointed that that designation did not come in because it is the Ports to Plains trade corridor from Canada to Mexico that floats through Highway 87 by Raton, Clayton, Tex Line in that area. So they were really disappointed. So we're back to square one on that project.
And Mr. Chairman, just to follow up on the tax question, because I had the information readily available to me. So the excise tax starts at 12%, which stays there through July 1 of 2025. Then it increases annually by 1% until July 1st of 2030, which it'll cap out at that 18%. And then the local governments receive 33.3%, or so a third of that excise tax.
Nice.
On that one, Justin, is the flow of that money go to the state and then they cut a check to the city?
That's correct, just very similar to what they do with gross receipts tax.
Right. Okay.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, stand up.
That was quick and easy. So glad I got to see you guys.